I want to move on to the Uluru reforms and the journey to treaty. Uluru was a sequence reform, voice to the Parliament first, treaty second, which isn't dissimilar to what's happened in Victoria and the Victorian treaty process. Treaty has always been the primary aspiration of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander movement. And I think this is probably what confused some people post-referendum council when the dialogues, or Uluru did rubber stamp this enshrined voice to Parliament as the principal reform that comes first. So following on from that, I want to make another point, the current structural arrangements. So treaties are foundational constitutional agreements between First Nations and the state, and they do involve a redistribution of political power. Treaties are agreements aimed at settling fundamental grievances and agreeing to binding frameworks of future engagement and dispute resolution. Treaties are legal texts. There will be disputes over interpretation. But treaties are about reparations for past injustice, and they are about land, and they are about resources. Any government fencing in a bread and butter treaty inventory at an MOU stage is a red flag. The idea behind this Makarrata Commission was that we can gather resources, so precedents. It's really important to capture how it is that Victoria's got to this point. Every single element, every single person needs to be interviewed so that everybody who's involved in this in the future across the country can draw on that. So resources are really important. In addition to very important fast-tracking of land settlement, including native title. Treaties are legal agreements. Treaty is not an end, it's a beginning. Other jurisdictions in the world show us that post-treaty making can be messy and legalistic. So the voice to Parliament is not an original idea. It is as old as the calls for treaties. Aboriginal peoples as an extreme minority have always sought an enhanced role in decision-making in Australian democracy. So the sequence of voice and then treaty is an appropriate one. We need an interface between communities and the state. We need an institutional framework with resources and legitimacy. While a treaty is the primary aspiration of most Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, a recognition of our ancient sovereignties in Australia, a voice also speaks to the state's routine failure to hear what it is that we are saying. And that is what I believe Uluru represents. That is what I believe the Victorian process represents. It represents the hope against hope that we could push for a comprehensive settlement, a Makarrata process finally, voice, treaty and truth. Thank you.